Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Eversole, when I looked at this hearing title today, I saw it was Unleashing America's Energy. I thought it should have also included the word keeping America's energy. I say that because I'm from Oregon, and we have Bonneville Power Administration, which was mentioned earlier by the Congresswoman from Washington. And it has about 18 hydroelectric dams, 4 of which have been targeted by the Biden administration to be removed. About 1,000 megawatts of firm power, but it can go up to 3,000 in a pinch. And the dams could actually be increased in size to add considerably more generation capacity. Yet, the Biden administration, through the CEQ, had decided that it could cause these dams to be removed for reasons having little to do with fish and lots to do with politics. This is a huge part of the Bonneville Power Administration's firm power arrangement, which acts as a balancing thing for all kinds of intermittent power producing things that have been put in, solar and wind and the like. My question to you, though, has to do with refineries, because refineries are integral to how we keep this country going. And yet I understood several years ago that we were dramatically short on diesel refineries. In fact, when they shifted our fleets, so all of our fleets over to cleaner fuel, we thought there would be a huge shortage. Apparently, we were able to avoid that in some fashion. But what I'm most concerned about when it comes to unleashing our energy is making sure we have a way to actually make it work for us. Before you answer, and I want to ask this because you can answer that, and then there's also an attempt in Oregon and California under the Clean Air Act, California's Clean Air Act, to ban diesel trucks. So having lots of diesel doesn't do you much good if you don't have a place to use it. So unleashing all this energy is no good if you can't get your hands on it and use it. So first question, what are you doing to maintain the refining capabilities of America? And secondly, what do we do about this attempt to destroy our markets by banning diesel fuel?
Congressman, thank you very much for your question. Unfortunately, there has not been a large-scale refinery built in this country since 1977. It just doesn't make any sense. The technology, the way that our energy markets were set up in the late 70s does not reflect how the energy realities are of today. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is the signals that are being sent to the marketplace is that, gosh, we shouldn't do this in the United States. I completely disagree. We need to add refining capacity here in the United States. We do a lot of work through innovation, and that's great, but that only takes us to a certain point. So we need to critically address permitting reform. It's important for our refining sector. And then, I'm sorry, the second
So the second question, well, it doesn't do you much good if you have refining if you have no place to sell your product. So I think the concept was, well, we'll ban the use of diesel in heavy trucks, and that way it won't matter if you have refining capacity. So my question to you is, when we talk about unleashing energy, shouldn't the conversation be broad enough to address how we can use it?
Absolutely, and specifically, banning certain forms of energy, it just doesn't make any sense. We're in a position right now where it's about energy addition. Diesel literally powers our economy. It is a reason why we are able to move things around this country efficiently, and we need to continue to be able to do that. What we also need to be able to do is think about emissions reductions from the context of the maximum reduction of emissions from the atmosphere for the minimum cost to society. That unlocks an entirely different set of choices rather than we look at things in in isolation.
So you mentioned earlier, many people talk about the need to do something about permitting, and I think your phrase was, these types of activities receive, quote, a high level of scrutiny, which is the understatement of the entire morning or afternoon. What would you specifically state that we should be doing in the permitting space? And I have a lengthy background in this area, but I want to hear from you guys. What is it that we should be doing when it comes to making permitting work better?
Yeah, 3 things in particular. We need to avoid the further weaponization of NEPA, of the Clean Water Act, because those provisions are being used to stop energy
You mean
projects.
the abuse by lawyers about taking this
Correct.
and bringing you into court and keeping you there for the rest of your life?
Correct.
Through unending discovery and all of that.
Correct.
That's one. What's the second?
Correct. And then judicial reform, right? Anyone, anywhere, anytime can stop these projects. We have to end the ability of the courts to stop rational energy development both of oil and gas, but also of projects across
So
the
I hate to interrupt you,
economy.
but you know, I left the Judiciary Committee to come to this committee. I'm now on this committee, so telling me to go back to, I'm not going to do it.
We need your help everywhere, Congressman.
Okay, thank you. Yield back.